Okay, so welcome to my final response on this whole ARK Aquatica drama. The reason why I wanted to do a bit of a final response is I actually finished watching Raasclark's video because I know he just did his response to the whole situation, and also, I saw some, like, other stuff from the community manager, which I was like, oh, wow, like, this community manager seriously hates ARK YouTubers. It's crazy. But, anyway, so we're going to be talking all about it in today's video, and hopefully I don't call this my final response and then some other stuff blows up, because, to be honest, I don't think anything else really needs to move on from here. I just think, you know, ARK YouTubers had their opinion. You know, they deserve to be able to respond to this, as it wasn't a very fair statement, and I think people have done that. So anyway, if you guys enjoy the video, drop a like, subscribe, and let's jump straight in with the video. So you would have seen the statement in my last video, and it was, you know, them saying Studio Sirens remains fully committed to ARK Aquatica and to delivering experiences for our passionate community have hoped for. Our team is dedicated to ensuring the content is stable and enjoyable for fans of the franchise, and we appreciate the support and patience from ARK Survival Evolved players and ARK Aquatica players throughout this process. Your direct feedback has been guiding Studio Sirens' efforts and improvements to the game. Looking forward, we'll be rolling out continued planned fixes and optimizations to refine ARK Aquatica in the months ahead, including our upcoming dev kit. Now, this upcoming dev kit, a lot of people have asked me questions about it. I literally have no clue. All I can think about is the reason they're making this dev kit is there's so many broken mods in the game, and I'm thinking maybe they're going to try and fix other people's mods. Are they even allowed to do that? Maybe, is there any copyright on that, or do you think, I mean, I need an ARK modder to actually explain that, but will they just jump in and fix other people's mods to, you know, over time? And they said hosted servers and player support will remain active for the rest of 2025 as previously stated, and thank you for being a part of ARK's 10-year journey and helping us make the game the best it can be. Now, one thing I have to respond to Matt here, I said it in the other video, is no, it was the worst ever 10-year celebration you could have ever have done. Like, literally, it was an absolute joke. Like, I think that I feel sad that there hasn't been something bigger and more exciting as a celebration for the game, and that's a real shame that they wanted to take it this direction. So I just finished watching Raasclark's response to this, and obviously I think pretty much everything that I watched in this video was completely, you know, I thought it was literally spot on. I don't really think there was anything when I watched the video that I thought, oh, I don't agree with this, I don't agree with that. I thought it was very, very well put together. You know, they talked about a potential Raasclark and Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear in the YouTube boxing ring in this video, because I mean, I personally really like Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear's videos, but I do agree that, like, you know, I don't even know if the guy does play ARK, and I've read comments of someone saying I don't know if he ever really has, and you know, he and Raasclark says in his video that he makes a lot of content which is negative stuff, and unfortunately, you know, it works well. Like, you know, people thrive off watching videos like this is like when the new game releases, right? If it's really, it has to be so good for people not to make negative videos about it these days. If you watch any other game on YouTube, it's always like, you know, I tried this game so you don't have to, or I tried this, or I did this, or this was an absolute failure. And I do believe on YouTube there is a little bit too much of that. Like, you know, there is a lot of, you know, riding off the clicks of negativity. And I know sometimes I can be negative towards ARK, but I'm only negative towards ARK when things are bad. When Ragnarok came out, I was the most positive I've ever been about the game for a while. Now, as Raas said at the end of the video, he's not trying to create any beef towards him and Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear, and I personally don't think there should be a response from Buzz on this or anything like that, because I think what Raas has said is fair enough. I do think when you're constantly on top of a game saying how bad it is or the failures and everything like that, then, you know, then that doesn't do any positivity. Now, I don't want anyone to watch this and think, Dom, come on, the game deserves it, because yes, it has done, and you can go through the library of my videos, and if you want, before anyone says, oh, here we go, you're just loving wildcards so much, no, you can look through the library of my videos since Ascended launch, and there was a lot more negative content than usual, but I will say when something's good and when something's bad, but I do understand Raas's point when he's saying that it's a channel just full of just riding off when things are negative. I did want to add, as I said at the start of the video, I do like Buzz's content. I actually started, when I went through a phase, many of you guys may remember, where I stopped doing ARK for a little while and I was doing Helldivers full time, and Buzz was doing Helldivers too, and I really enjoyed. I was watching all his content there. I did take some inspiration from Buzz too, because I think what he does is fantastic. But when on that side of things. But when everything does just become, it's the end of this. The videos are just, it's the destruction. It's the end. It will never be the same again. That kind of thing. That is when it is just riding off. It's always a lot. Sometimes it's older news too, and things like that. But I do consider Buzz like a part of the community. And I wouldn't say he's like a mega part of the community like someone like myself or Raas or Vino, who does videos with Raas. Who else is there? Like GP, Syntac. That is the core ARK community. Whatever your opinion is on any of us, that's completely up to you. But anyway, this has all just kicked off a massive fuss ever since this post came out. But funny enough, I actually saw another one and I was like, wow, so this person took on a project as an ARK community manager for Snail Games or Studio Sirens, and has actually just been slandering ARK YouTubers who, the only reason why that this community manager has done this is because they know how awful this DLC has been responding. And instead of instead of taking sort of, what's the word? Like, sort of just taking it on, what's the saying I'm trying to say? Like, taking it all in and then apologizing and wanting to build good relationships with the YouTubers that will help your brand. It's just constant negative. So obviously this was the average ARK YouTuber has a channel full of slander, so that's not surprising. They then goes right back to making positive content on and they're fun in game. Heck, some channels only make content about ARK. Is it just me who doesn't understand this? Heck, some channels only make content about ARK. What does this even mean? Of course some channels only make content about ARK. What do you expect them to do? They're an ARK YouTuber. You want them to make content about Fortnite? I'm missing that last bit. And I actually did a little bit more research, and it was actually a month ago, and this, again, another lowball shot to ARK YouTubers, saying, if you know what ARK YouTubers are like, it is as expected, because basically, instead of just realizing that it's not ARK YouTubers that are ruining your DLC and that you really messed up, let's just blame ARK YouTubers for it. The only thing ARK YouTubers have done in this situation is they've just called out the absolute rubbish that's been going on. So to be honest, I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan at all of that community manager, and I'm sure that community manager isn't the biggest fan of me as well, and that I really don't care, to be honest, because I only like having people in the community that are respectful, and I'm not saying that all ARK YouTubers deserve respect or anything like that, but it's just like constant, just like calling it the average ARK YouTubers, as summarizing everyone all into one place is so wrong. And if you ever want to complain about this response was response to someone saying, I don't know why ARK YouTubers are saying it's a bad DLC when I've actually played it and it was good. And I personally played the beta version and did have fun with it. But the problem is one, you sold us a new game in ASA and then tried to go back to the old version. Two, it broke ARK Survival Evolved, and you didn't even know that was going to happen. You've released a DLC, you didn't even have a thought of, oh, the mods are going to break, which is any ARK YouTuber would know, or player would know that. And as you can see from the response, 13% of your 1,531 user reviews are positive. 13%, and it's this overwhelmingly negative. And at the end of the day, if they wanted this to be a good DLC, like I mentioned, all they had to do is just, you basically have to communicate with the community more often. You need to say reasons for things, and don't break what works already. That's why, the reason why this community has become so toxic, and you're calling people toxic, is because you broke what they were playing. Every day they hop on and play ARK Survival Evolved, and maybe they don't want to play the new version, and you release a DLC and broke their game. That's why they're not happy. So anyway, I think that's really going to be my final response to it, unless anything else kicks off, but I hope it doesn't. I just hope that is the final thing onwards from there. I hope moving forward we can like kind of forget about this and just look at it as a bit of a hiccup. I mean, according to Studio Sirens, they're not going anywhere, and they're you know, they're staying here and they're going to remain active for the rest of 2025. So they're going to be around for the rest of the year is what they said, but I do believe at the end of 2025 all official servers will close down for this game. Again, this is not official information, but to be honest, they've said that they'll support it up to the end of 2025. Most of them are probably going to move on to other projects afterwards, you know, within the Snail Games company, and then basically all your hard work that you put into Aquatica, if you do play on the official servers, will be gone, and that's really it, because at the end of the day, there's no chance in the world that this is going to be making enough money to be putting so many resources onto. At the end of the day, if you're paying someone and what the job that's happening, or the sales that's happening in that area aren't doing well, they're just not going to carry on doing it. So it was a quick money making scheme. They probably didn't do very well, didn't really make very much from it, and now it's they will pull the plug on it. They will. It's so obvious. They'll probably still have a small resource team that like comes in and sees how things are going, but after that it's just going to be stuck in front of all the other ARK DLCs, and they're just going to try and, like, you know, they'll make bits of money here and there on the odd person with over the next 5 years that still finds the old game and decides, oh, what's this DLC, and pays whatever for it, and then realizes it's terrible and then refunds it again. But no, that's me being harsh. It wasn't a terrible DLC. It had cool taming mechanics in it. I thought the underwater world was cool, but at the end of the day, you know, whoever made the decision to ever release this was absolutely ridiculous. But again, I've said it so many times, I'm not taking it away from your hard work, Studio Sirens, because I know you did put that in there. I know you did, but at the end of the day, that community manager, got nothing else to say to that community manager. Us as YouTubers, ARK YouTubers, will always support you. Even if you wanted to come to someone and say, oh, I wasn't happy with what you said, we really want to work on this, we really want to make this better, we seriously love this project that we've done, I'm telling you, ARK YouTubers will come and listen to you and support you. And depending, obviously there are some that completely haven't supported Aquatica. I was a bit more open-minded and wanted to give it a try. And as I said, I enjoyed some of the bits about it. But again, it broke the whole game, so, and it still continues to be breaking at different points. So, anyway, you lovely people, I will catch you in my next video very soon. As I said, I hope nothing pops off from this afterwards. I don't know whether Buzz is going to respond to Raas. I don't think, you know, Raas said it in his video, I don't think he's the kind of guy that wants to get involved with things like that, because I don't think it needs to, personally. I think YouTube beef, you know, a lot of the big YouTubers do it as like a way of just trying to cause a stir up to get back into the spotlight. You know, so many ones have done it before, and I just don't believe that's what the ARK community needs right now. Yeah, it'd be interesting if them two have a chat about things and share their thoughts and opinions, and that's it really. So thank you for watching, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.